hoping to hit his best form once again. And from a bowling perspective, Hussein and Pierre, the left-arm spinners who've done so very well. Jaden Seals has bowled superbly, the 18-year-old so far this season. And of course, the talisman, the veteran, Dwayne Bravo. DJ is back, the champion.
The Jamaica Tallawahs, a little bit surprising what they've done so far in terms of results. Glenn Phillips, he was brilliant in the last match. Chadwick Walton hasn't produced, and hence there has been some changes at the top. Rovman Powell, captain, just 64 runs from 6 matches. Carlos Brathwaite himself, 25 runs from 5 matches. So the central theme of this team has been the batting or the lack of productivity. Their spinners have been excellent throughout. Sandeep Lamichhane, Mujib. Andre Russell is back in 2 centuries against this opposition in CPL history. So that's a welcome addition to this team.
You know, sometimes we forget a lot of things. We have very short memories as watchers, as analysts on the game. Here's Alex Jordan helping us to remember a few things.
Today at the CPL, it's reggae versus soca. The Jamaica Tallawahs take on the Trinbago Knight Riders. And from the Tallawahs camp, I'm speaking to the big man, Carlos Brathwaite. Carlos, some good bowling performances from you so far in 2020. How would you rate your overall individual performance?
Yeah, as rightfully said, I think I had a few decent bowling performances. I made a few changes to my action and to my approach, and I think it's paid dividends. Bar 2 bad overs, I've had a very good season with the ball thus far. The bat has been a bit disappointing, but there are a few more games to change that and hopefully take us into the semi-finals and finals with a good few performances.
Always challenging for a cricketer to adjust your action. Can you tell us a bit about those changes?
Yeah, it was just to try to get a yard of pace. I felt in the middle overs, you know, it was too easy to get singles off of, and when that boundary ball came along, it would have gone for 8, 9 and sometimes 10 over. With the change in action, I've been able to bowl a few more dots. I've been able to employ a few more attacking fields as well, and then with the mixing of my pace as I had before, I'm a little bit more effective, or I feel that way. And the bowling figures have resulted as such. As I said, bar for the 28 or 29 run over with Kyle Mears and the 21 run over with Colin Monroe. So it's been paying dividends. The stats may or may not reflect that, but when I do my introspection, it definitely is.
Very nice. All right, let's talk about the batting fortunes. Glenn Phillips has been consistent as ever, and you've had 1 or 2 performances. Do you think you're coming into your own in that respect now?
Yeah, a bit. I mean, it's been a difficult CPL for most of the batters. The pitches have been difficult. Added to that, there haven't been much cricket being played for a lot of the guys. So you're coming into a tournament shorter rhythm. I think as a team, we had 1 practice session before we actually played our first game. So you're not learning on your feet, as in a sense, but going into this season, going into the tournament, with the advent of Corona, lack of practice, lack of rhythm, you really and truly are. So we're just about finding our rhythm, and hopefully we peak at the right time.
Carlos Brathwaite, today is reggae versus soca.
I'm a bit of calypso, so hopefully calypso can help the reggae boys to shine through.
All right, good luck, go well today.
Thank you.
Alex Jordan talking to one of the twin towers of Hero CPL, Carlos Brathwaite. Another half of the twin towers, Tom Moody, dressed under the umbrella today. What's going on?
Well, it's not raining, Bish, but as you know, I'm closer to the sun than what you are, and I'm feeling some serious heat. So I just thought, well, why not? Let's go the Brilla.
You are definitely, but on a serious side note, that this sort of humidity can usually spell rain later on in the day, so we have to be very wary of that. So the umbrella might serve 2 purposes. But Carlos Brathwaite there talking about his bowling, your impressions of his tournament so far?
Yeah, look, I find it really interesting. You know, for me, he doesn't really fit into this Tallawahs side because there's a lot of players similar in skill, bat, bowl, power hitters, and he seems to me to be the last person to get the opportunity, whether it be with the bat or the ball. You know, we've seen on a couple of occasions Rovman Powell himself bowl before Carlos Brathwaite, and if you're looking at Carlos's career, he's always been a preferred option with the ball, but it just seems that he's the bridesmaid in this side.
I wonder if they can fit him in, and he has to help himself with the bat certainly, and maybe fit in other places. But you talked about the other all-rounders, Samuel Badri. Dre Russ, great to have him back.
Yeah, absolutely phenomenal performer for every team that he's played with. Like I mentioned a little bit earlier, 2 centuries already against this team in CPL history. And the batting hasn't fired. By and large, apart from Glenn Phillips, it has been problematic for the Tallawahs. So his inclusion, if not with the ball, certainly with the bat, will do wonders or should do wonders for this team. Just his aura, his presence, it gives them a psychological advantage. It also gives a psychological disadvantage to the opposition, knowing that they have someone like Andrew Russell in the sheds. He has been good so far with the bat. Just hope that he can stay fit, stay on the park for much longer.
And of course, Tommy has that great memory against TKR 2 years ago at the Queen's Park Oval.
Well, he's not the only one that's got a great memory. I remember, just like you do, that innings, and it was remarkable. It really was one of the great T20 innings of all time. You know, I don't think we could ever imagine that day that the Tallawahs were going to dig themselves out of the hole they're in. But Andre Russell had a different idea, and I do remember that game, him getting dropped, I think, very first or second ball. And from that point onwards, it was a flawless performance. It was incredible hitting, but it was gobsmacking. And he also took wickets, I think, in that game as well. May even got a hat-trick.
Yes, Samuel Battery, I mean, that's not easy to come by. I mean, that is the stuff of dreams, isn't it? Hat-trick and 100.
Yeah, it's a rarity. And someone like Andrew Russell can't produce that. I was there, I played in that match, and I remember that innings, I remember that performance. It really shell-shocked the Trinbago Knight Riders as well as all the fans. Remember, it happened at the Queen's Park Oval. So he scored a century against them at home, and he has that memory in the bank. Can he do that again today? The Jamaica Tallawahs will need him to fire.
Yeah, of course, great history doesn't necessarily mean it will replicate itself. Another great piece of T20 generally and their history has been Sunil Narain, and his form with the bat and ball this season. How good has it been?
Well, he's one of the game's best all-rounders, and he's proved that time and time again. And in the early games of the Hero CPL this year, he stood up and got runs, got 2 half-centuries. He's always a nightmare with the ball. He's so economical. He doesn't take as many wickets as he normally he has done historically, and that's because opposition sit on him. They know they can't afford to lose wickets against him, and I think that happens to the very best spinners in the world. I think Rashid Khan is also faced with that situation where teams are happy just to block out their 24 balls and try to get a runner ball.
Yeah, that great memory of half-century earlier against the Jamaica Tallawahs. We'll see how that carries Sunil Narain today. Karen Pollard, on the other hand, on an Independence weekend, gave the country a great gift.
That was a phenomenal effort. Many people thought that that game was done and dusted. The Barbados Tridents were well and truly in charge until Karen Pollard stepped to the crease. We know what he is capable of, and he demonstrated it yet again. A simply sensational knock. His power, his brutality, his force. He was able to target certain bowlers. Hayden Walsh in particular came in for some rough treatment. But the way he went about that innings, you felt that he was in control all the way through. Unfortunately for him, he wasn't able to carry the team over the line, but Carey Peer did the job in the end. And when you have that sort of power in your team, Bish, it gives the batsmen at the top, the likes of Lyndall Simmons and Colin Munro, that freedom to express themselves, knowing that they have someone with that capability in the back end.
Yeah, there's a great advert that says power without control is nothing, and